I'm recording, and in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone. Oh, you know what I need to do is before we get started, I gotta turn my voice activity on so I don't have to hold my stupid mouse whenever I'm
I was
talking
like,
to
he's
you.
talking
Okay.
and nothing came
Okay.
through. So you were pushed to talk.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pushed to talk. Okay. All right. Hey everyone. Welcome to the first episode of the Desync Podcast. I'm here with Mike, who is going to be my guest every week. Well, not really a guest. We're in this together.
Co-host.
Yeah, co-host. My co-host, Mike, 70-30 split on this. No, just kidding. But we just...
so you're Twitch now. Nice.
I have 5% tax as well, just, to cover the online processing fee.
Sure.
Just the normal stuff. But my name's Berks. This is Salty Mike. And we just wanted to open up like a candid conversation into a bunch of topics that we'd like to talk about off stream or on stream. And we're both Star Citizen content creators. Mike, I'll obviously let you introduce yourself. But man, we just wanted to open up the conversation to ourselves and the community on just some topics that we wanted to talk about in a more candid environment than our typical live streaming environment. So, Mike, who are you?
I'm Salty Mike. Like Berks said, I make Star Citizen content. But yeah, we just wanted to, we have these conversations all the time by ourselves. And we were like, we should just make a podcast. Why wouldn't it's fun. We have these conversations all the time and it's a lot of fun and we think you guys would enjoy it too. So why not? Right. And I think we have a lot of conversations outside of the video games that we normally play. Right. So it's really about that more than anything, is just hanging out and chatting more about whatever comes up and whatever's interesting to us at the time. Maybe it's interesting to some of you guys,
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, we decided that we're just here to have fun and hang out with each other. And if we can, grab some people along the way and build a community off of that and bring our communities into that, then very cool. It's I guess a side content creation for our content creation that we're already doing.
Yeah,
but,
for the too much content
creation. I mean, what are we doing, Mike? This is our last episode. Thank you guys for the amazing ride. I mean, speaking of it being our last episode, so our topic today is live streaming dead? Is
live streaming dead? Yeah. I think it's so bigger than it's ever been, right? Like this whole thing has been this has been a wild, about week and a half, I think, around everything with Twitch and all these things. And I think it started out with the 70-30 split, like how you started with, and everybody saying that, well, Twitch can't afford things and Kick can't afford things and all these, to live stream and everything. And that's where the conversation started. And then so many other things happened after that. Like we were planning on just talking about that one thing, and then it just snowballed into all sorts of different things that have happened around the live streaming space in the last week and a half. It's been nuts.
It has been nuts. And the weird part is that when I originally introduced this topic to you and I said, hey, let's talk about this, I even had a different opinion, like in my mind, of like where I thought live streaming was going. It was just, like you said, it was a wild week. It's been still like a weird couple of weeks for live streaming and the future of live streaming. People are kind of on edge, especially people like us who we do this full time, right? Yeah. So, people have their bills on their mind. They have the future of their communities on their mind, and people are trying to figure out like where they're supposed to go and what they're supposed to do. It's really interesting, right? And we talked about this. So I think honestly, probably one of the first things I want to talk about is, and we're jumping around a little bit here, but the 70-30 split, the 350 recurring subs. So it's interesting, right? Because me and you both were really excited when that came out, right?
Yeah, and I think the reason is because we were incredibly close to hitting these goals, right? Like, there's a lot of talk about how many people this affects, and I don't think those numbers are correct in the first place. And then second, it's not saying the people like you and I who were right on the border of those numbers and could potentially make a push to try
Yeah.
to hit those goals, right? So we're excited, but then I'm looking around and seeing so much frustration and
Yep.
angst and disappointment in Twitch from these things. And I'm sitting here going, this is awesome. Like I have a
Yeah.
goal to reach for. I don't know if there's any people out there that maybe they just got affiliate or they're pushing for affiliate and they're thinking about getting partnered. When you got partnered on Twitch, it was an achievement and it was and it was that was it. That was the last thing for the most part because a lot of people didn't know that the 70-30 split was like this secret deal that you can make with Twitch a while back if you had some friends there or
Yeah.
whatever, right? That was basically the way that it worked. And I didn't have any friends there, right? I had a friend who had some friends there, got the 70-30 split and probably still has it, but doesn't stream anymore.
Well, I found out about the 70-30 split back in the day on accident because I emailed Twitch and I was like basically asking them about my split. And I told them that I was talking to another creator who had a different split, not knowing that they had signed a contract. And they were like, hey, so we just want to encourage you that your contract is NDA and you're not supposed to talk about that. But by the way, if you get 500 subs that are tier 1, reoccurring, non-prime, non-gifted, then we can talk about upping your split. And I was like,
which
holy
is a
moly.
monster number. That's a monster number. Like that's
a lot of people don't
2,000
realize.
plus viewer streamer that you're probably going to have that number,
Yeah.
right? There are so few of those, but there are so many people. I think to be clear, in case you guys may not know who we are and have watched our content on Twitch before, Berks a little bit bigger in terms of view count than me. We're very similar in view count though, around 500 average, right? Somewhere around there, 500 average viewers. So, and we're pretty close to this number, right? So these are achievable goals for a lot of streamers that are just getting partnered now and have 100 viewers. To introduce myself a little bit more, I got my first 100-month sub the other day. I've been streaming for a really long time, and I had the 100 viewers, the 200 viewers, the 50 viewers for a long time. And it was a lot of work learning and figuring things out to get to the point that I am today. You've had a little bit faster of a rise than I did, but it was, we're in a place where this number can be a positive effect for us. And what I like about it is that after getting partnered, I have a goal to go for, right? It's not just turning on the stream every day. I feel like that there's something that I can achieve, but I will not be pushing for this. I decided, you said, we play Star Citizen. The game's kind of in this downturn, and I feel like it's going to be tough to get to, and I don't want to push for something that might not be possible and be a little tough.
No, totally. Well, what's your number? What do you have you gone up at all? What's your number?
I've gone down maybe 50 subs since this announcement. I don't know about the reoccurring number though, but I was at 297 on the day of the announcement. And then overall I've gone down 50 subs, but those are usually those gifted and primes. So I'm probably still around the same.
Well, I get what you mean by we're Star Citizen content creators. Our game isn't in the best spot, but I mean, man, you have in my opinion, an amazing community. I like hanging out on your stream. And in my opinion, that's what it's more about is your community wanting to support you. Because I'll tell you, I'll be completely candid with you. I've been telling people, hey, we have this split coming up. I, have a opportunity to get a 70-30 split. This is what it's going to take. And I've had people, quite a few, switch from prime to tier 1s. I've had quite a people tier 1 sub, a lot of people 3 months in advance sub. And I went from being just under the number. I was at like 340. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm at like 360. And now I have to hold that for 3 months. And that's a pretty hard thing to do. But just this, and I haven't been like every 5 minutes, hey guys, if you're not tier 1, then, make sure you tier 1 right now, blah, blah, blah. I haven't been like super, like pushing super hard for it. Just every like few hours I've been like, hey, just so you guys know, blah, blah, blah. Or if someone subs and it comes up organically And I've seen a lot of success from that. And I think there's a lot of people who are in the position you're in where they're just a couple, not a couple. I know 50 is a lot, especially tier ones. I mean, you've been streaming for the better part of a decade. I've been streaming just over half a decade now, and we barely hit it. So it's a monumental goal. 500 being even bigger. And I thought back in the day, I was like, I can hit this. I could do 500. And I was at maybe like 90 whenever I found out about the 70-30 split originally. But I don't know. You said earlier that you thought the 2% number was wrong, right? Is that the number you were talking about you thought was wrong?
Yeah, because it's coming from this website called Streamer Charts, and the only thing that they can do is like read the chats. So they're seeing the sub message come up in chat, but as you probably know, and a lot of people know, people resub in the background and don't click the resub alert,
of course,
and then those don't count. So there's most likely a fair amount more people that are.
I would say
available.
That's significant, because most of my subs do not announce their resub. I'd say, unless they're gifted, unless they're primes, because primes you have to manually re-up. And then that's why it feels like you get a lot more primes than you actually do, or why those numbers on those websites are skewed, because people have to manually resub or you don't get it.
And they're only reading the chat. So that information is always going to be slightly incorrect or significantly incorrect, I think, in this case. So I think, that number that's out there isn't significant. But what I do think is significant is I do think a lot of people are looking at there's so many streamers now, right? It is so much harder, even from when you started. When I started, it was significantly easier to start a stream and get a following, right? You did really well at the start, but for the average streamer, it is incredibly difficult, especially if they're playing, a game like League or Valorant now. Like Valorant's kind of the new league.
I got lucky.
You're like, how? You got lucky, but you also chose a game that was easier to grow in, right?
Exactly. So I positioned myself to make that luck work for me, but this is what, it's harder to start a stream today than it's ever been, right? Yeah. Nobody is denying that. If you're if you're literally watching this podcast right now thinking, maybe I should start my stream, or you've been thinking about it, it is harder today than it's ever been. So you have to position yourself in a place where you feel like you're not going to get absolutely drowned in the people who are in that list of viewership, because most people are sorting by views, I'd say, right? Most people.
100%.
And when I see that it's on recommended, I switch it. Well, I don't know about you. Do you switch it?
Same. 100%.
Yeah.
The streamer with the more viewers is probably the more entertaining and fun chat to be in.
Right.
It's just that's how it is. And currently, and I think that's where we can get into this part of the conversation, is I think this is the entire problem here, is the discoverability of Twitch, and the fact that a streamer has to do so much more now. You have to be an editor, you have to be a streamer, you have to be a social media manager, you have to be a community manager, you have to be 15 hats, and it's so hard.
Yeah.
And to even break 50 viewers, right? You're posting on TikTok, you're doing everything, and you're not seeing anything go anywhere. It's tough.
It is tough.
It's so hard.
Yeah. I mean, I've thought about hiring an editor for so long. I had an editor for a while, and then I didn't, and that costs money, right? So that's more resources. And, I'm just barely, I mean, I don't know about you, Mike, and not to pry too much, you don't have to share, but I mean, I'm just barely paying my bills. I'm barely in the green. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, I live in a pretty nice house. I've got a car that is paid off. That's nice. But, I got bills. I am putting money towards savings. But I mean, I'm in the green, but not like, I'm not making $100K a year, like this cap on that's the crazy part to me, is that just to pivot just a little bit, is that people are getting mad about the 100K cap. I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah, like how many of you are hitting that cap, first off? And the other thing, and this was a conversation with Asmongold, I think I watched like a React video from him, a big, huge creator, right? And I think, like I don't want to put you down, Berks, okay? But I consider us small streamers still. Okay? We're small streamers. I think we still have a way to go.
I
And
agree with that.
I think we have like there's places we want to go, and I still think we're in the place where yes, we've gone full time, but I think like you said with restrictions, right? I'm just paying my bills. I can't uh live we all have goals that we want to hit as
Yeah.
far as content creation, and I assume most people get into content creation because of freedom and being able to freedom of your time and make a really good living possibly and have all this free time to do what you want to do, and then they realize that you have no free time when you start making content,
No
right?
free time, no money,
Yeah.
no fame. I mean, it's some fame,
I
but
haven't been outside in 2 weeks.
exactly. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, hey, listen, that's a good thing to me. We don't touch grass. We're gamers, okay?
True.
But it's okay. So, like, tell me then, if you think you're a small streamer and you think we have ways to go, what is your goal? Like, where
I
do
don't
you draw the line at success?
uh
Or like,
I don't know.
or you are like, I am now a big streamer. I'm now a successful streamer. Like, where
I
do you
don't know.
draw that
I don't
line?
know. Yeah, I think the word would be successful. I don't think I can ever like look at myself and call myself big because I imagine there will always be like this tier of streamer that's like so far above you that it's insane. But for me, I always wanted to hit around 2,000 viewers because I think that that's where you're financially free and you're able to kind of play whatever game you want. You likely have a community that's really just there for you and you can kind of do your thing. And at the same time, the chat is still engageable,
Of course.
right? You've not gotten to this point where all it is a hive mind of like emotes, which I personally love watching those channels, but I don't know if I would be able to like enjoy streaming to a channel like that.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe
Well,
because it's fun.
so
Like you
if
say a funny joke and emotes go flying. It's fun.
do you think that if you finger snap, all of a sudden you have 10,000 viewers, do you think you would
Mhm.
enjoy your streaming career less than today?
I don't know. It just depends on what the experience is like, right?
Hmm.
That's just a number, but how are the 10,000 viewers? Are they like
It's interesting, right?
constantly
Because
calling me bald or whatever that they normally do?
of course.
Is there more of them? That would be fun and funny, right? Like, but I don't know because what responsibility comes with 10,000 viewers seems to be significantly more, right? All of a sudden you're held to this weird standard. But I guess the point
Yeah,
that I was
your
trying
skin's
to
got to get
make,
thicker.
yeah, for sure. But the point that I was trying to make that we strayed away from a little bit
Go ahead.
is with the 70/30 thing, once you get to like a certain size, ads start becoming a significantly larger portion of the money that you make rather than the community subs apparently. This
Hmm.
is what was being said by like the top streamers is that ads have more of an effect on it. And I think that's where everybody that's the smaller streamers or the medium-sized streamers or the people who feel that this doesn't affect them is you kind of have to read the tea leaves here and realize what Twitch is trying to do. And we'll get into a lot more of these things that you could see with all the other announcements of what's happening here. But I think that Twitch is really missing the mark is that they're trying to shift towards this ad-based platform similar to YouTube with community support.
Hmm.
And it's obviously I don't agree with like percentages and some of the things that they're taking is it doesn't exactly seem fair when you look at the rest of the marketplace, but I think if we wanted to place our energy in what we were upset about, it's like you're doing all these announcements before you're doing the thing that we actually need, which is ad ad types or ads that work with live streams,
Yep.
right? That's what everybody needs. That's what the community needs because there's no way that the website, they've explained this a million times, that it is what it is, accept it. These platforms run on ads. If Twitch doesn't figure out a way to run ads in a live stream and innovate there, we're all dead. But that
Yeah,
doesn't mean that I think we should all be giving up our revenue so they can get there. They should
I
have been focusing on this all along.
I completely agree with you. And I think it's
Yeah.
really interesting, right? Because this is where today's podcast topic started, was this conversation right here, which is
Yeah.
live streaming is so expensive to
Yeah.
to run. And we talked about this. a million people watching a YouTube video that's an hour long is infinitely cheaper than, well, maybe not infinitely cheaper, but much cheaper than a million people watching an hour long VOD all at the same time. It's way cheaper. And why that is because of bandwidth, mainly the bandwidth cost, right? I don't think I have the numbers in front of me, but we talked about this. An XQC stream cost how much?
I mean, like he put it into Chat GPT, but I think it was using the numbers from what, but it's using the numbers from what AWS would charge for certain bandwidth. And it was like for a single month for him to stream to his average view count was $9 million, right?
And that makes that, I mean, don't know if that number's accurate. It might not be.
Oh, it probably isn't.
But that sounds correct to me. It's bandwidth is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't understand that, yes, Twitch owns the AWS servers, but they don't own the last mile of copper between our houses and the server hubs, and the server hubs connecting to AWS, and a lot of these like things that they have to channel this live stream bandwidth through. They don't own that. Yeah. And for the same reason that I'm pretty sure, I could be completely off base here, it's very expensive to stream the Super Bowl. And a lot of these like live sporting events, I think they have to eat a lot of those costs, which is why it costs tens of millions of dollars to run a 30-second ad at the Super Bowl, among other reasons, but because there's so many eyes on it and stuff. But Twitch streaming is becoming, a lot of these live streaming events are becoming bigger than the Super Bowl now, right? Yeah. And so it's interesting to me, though, that Twitch is only pushing into the ad direction. Have you seen in the last 5 years Twitch try to help or encourage people to sub?
Only for September.
Ways? Only in September. And a lot of times that's gifted subs, correct?
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw
gifted
Twitch?
And new.
Yes. When was the last time you saw Twitch incentivize people, besides a slight discount, to tier 1 sub to their streamer, to a person in any capacity? I don't think I've ever seen it. I could be completely wrong here. Someone let me know in the comments if I am wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen Twitch incentivize people to sub, right? Which seems so strange considering it's their primary way they make money by far, even with the amount of ads that they're pushing now. By far, it's their primary way they make money. So isn't it weird that they're not trying to, I don't know, push that in a more meaningful way? Like, for example, something that's been talked, I haven't been the only one that's had this idea, but one of the ideas that I think they should have is sub points for viewers. And if you don't know what a sub point is, essentially streamers get these things called sub points, and the more you get, the more emotes you unlock, right? So imagine if a viewer had it, right?
Oh, channel points, you mean?
No, sub points.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
For emote unlocks, right?
Yeah.
And so once you hit like 1,000 sub points, you hit 2,000 sub points, you get X amount of emotes. And the more you have, the more emotes you unlock. So it incentivizes people to give to streamers in that way, right? But that's more for the streamer. Imagine if viewers had sub points, and like I subbed to you, I subbed to, I don't know, Astropub, I subbed to XQC, Semi1G, a couple of different other people. And now all of a sudden, once I hit 5 sub points, I don't see any more ads on the platform. I think that would be a tremendous idea, and it would cause more people to sub to multiple people. If I tier, if I tier 3 sub, I don't see any ads on the platform at all.
Yeah, if you're subbed to a similar number at the cost of Twitch Turbo, you should automatically get Twitch Turbo.
I'm proposing that they double it, right? Because Twitch Turbo is what, $12 now, $12.99. Yeah. Which, I mean, I personally think the Twitch Turbo isn't. I think that if you were an avid viewer of Twitch and you're hopping streams a lot, most people, I don't know if you know this, apparently the number is the average viewer watches 1.2 streams per day or per session, right? So they watch 1.2 and then they close down the app. So most people, based on that number, only watching
their
one
streamer,
right? But if you're like an avid viewer of Twitch, you're watching a lot of streams, I'd say Twitch Turbo is probably worth it. But it'd be cool if they were incentivizing people to watch multiple streams, support multiple streams in some capacity. Maybe I'm wrong here and they should go a different route. But I think it's very interesting that they just haven't incentivized this at all, right?
Sure. I just still think that they need to focus on making it an ad, some like innovate on ads.
Sure.
You're backed by Amazon. This is a huge company that you have a lot of resources that you can innovate and should be spending your money there. And I just think that there was a lot of wasted time over the last like 5 years or whatever. But I think, I definitely agree with you. I haven't seen them do anything outside of gifted subs and prime subs for the last time. And those were the days where those were still the bleed purple days, where Twitch was like a community focused platform and a streamer focused platform. And now it's
Oh, I'm
obviously
bleeding
much
these
more
days.
corporate.
I'm
Yeah, we're
bleeding.
all bleeding, but it's not purple.
What do you think
It's
about this new platform that is probably not new to most people now, but Kick? What do you think about this? I mean, they're
it's
signing people. They're giving a
it's hard
95
for me.
split. Have you
It's
thought
really
about
hard for
signing
me.
up at all?
I just parked my name. That's it. But the
I couldn't get mine.
yeah, that sucks. Why again? It was already taken.
It's already taken. Someone took Berks. But I mean, I would imagine worst case scenario, if I did decide to stream there and I got partnered, they'd probably hook me up the same way Twitch did.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
who knows? Who knows? But continue.
I come from a casino background. I worked in
Okay.
casinos. I was a poker dealer and supervisor for 15 years, and I like during the whole time that I was coming up streaming, and I know what gambling does to people, and I can't imagine a situation with somebody like an XQC that has a majority of viewerships that's probably in the 18 and below range, or like 21 and below. I think it's a lot harder for me to support a platform that's backed by not just a gambling uh, program or a gambling website or whatever, but extremely unregulated one.
Hmm.
And I know a lot about that and seen a lot of weird things in my time, with places that are less regulated than some of the places that I've worked at. And it's dangerous, man. It's super, super dangerous. So it's hard for me to support something like that. But
I get it.
the whole thing that I'm seeing with them is they have this roadmap, and their whole idea is that it's going to be its own thing, and they're not doing, it's not about stake and all this. But I also follow Formula One, and stake was a big advertisement on the Alfa Romeo car, and all of a sudden it is switched to Kick. Why? Because in America and in other places, you cannot advertise these unregulated websites. Like I come from a poker
Interesting.
background. Online poker was a huge thing. You were not allowed to even when it was quote unquote legal, you were not allowed to advertise fulltiltpoker.com, pokerstars.com. It had to be PokerStars and FullTilt.net, which were only free to play websites. Like you could not put real money on those. Right, those were the only things that was their loophole to get around it. Well, this is Kick's loophole to get around it, in my opinion, is
Interesting.
using a platform like this to allow them to advertise in a place where they're normally not allowed to. Right,
Right.
it's this extra wall in between
Makes
the
sense to
United
me.
States and advertising and unregulated gambling. And obviously they don't let underage people on there, but I watched underage people just instantly sign up on the website. So
Well,
it's tough, man.
I think that's so interesting, right? Because I think we, have people who are saying that Kick is just as bad as Amazon, and Amazon's like this terrible company too, and they're money hungry and blah, blah, blah. And of course they're trying to be profitable, but so is
Yeah.
Kick, right? Kick wants to be profitable. I mean, does anyone out there think that Kick is just opening a streaming platform out of the kindness of their hearts? Do you think that
No.
I mean, you don't, but I have to imagine there's a lot of people who are treating the situation like that. They're like, well, you don't have to gamble. But the thing is I genuinely believe that Kick believes that they are going to turn over enough people to pay for the massive cost of live streaming services. That has to be their plan, because otherwise they're
their
doing it out
plan
of
is the big thing is their plan is to innovate advertising.
right.
That's what they are
Oh,
saying they're doing.
really?
Yeah, like I mean, here's the deal: is who Trainwrecks is, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right, big Twitch streamer that was doing all the stake sponsors. Like that's where all this came from, and then moved over there, and I
Mhm.
think still streams on Twitch a little bit. But the he claims to be the third owner of the website. Who knows whose equity is where, whatever, right? But he
Him,
has a lot of
Drake,
information.
the other
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. I mean, XQC kind of in a conversation leaked that he might have some equity now. So there's a lot going on, but who knows? But he's stating that it'll be like a year away, but they currently don't have ads on the platform, right? So the 95.5, like they're bleeding. Like there's no
Woo!
way, right? But they
People,
don't have.
if that's coming,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
ads are coming. Like they've not hidden that, but they're saying that they're going to innovate. What that means, I have no idea. And where it comes from me, and where the positive of it is, if they innovate in a good way, Twitch copies it or whatever, and
Probably.
then you have a good competition between people. It's just
And what are they
I
going to
can't.
do? You can't trademark the way people present ads,
I
right?
mean,
So
maybe we don't have a skip button. I mean, I guess there's skip buttons on Facebook. Like, why don't we have a skip button on Twitch?
I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God, I can't.
I don't know.
I
I
can't.
I can't imagine that there's some sort of deal that they're making with advertisers that say that they can't have a skip button because uh, YouTube has it and they probably make more ad money than anyone else, right? So I have to imagine
Yeah.
Twitch isn't going to people being like, "Hey guys, we don't have a skip button." They're going to watch
Yeah.
a minute and a half of straight ads, no problem. I have to imagine that it's just something they haven't integrated, but I could be wrong.
Did you see the new ad incentive guidelines or whatever recently? Where
Oh,
like if
no.
you mark yourself mature, you have to choose what level of mature you are. Like, do you
Oh,
curse a lot?
the
Do you use
tags.
drugs? Yeah, the tags. Have you seen that? I think
I've seen
that's
them.
the first step. That's the first step.
Yes. Well, and I don't know if you know this, but I could be completely wrong again on this, but to the best of my knowledge, you don't get ads in the at least the same kind of ads, not like 100% ads don't get played on your stream if you're in the pools and hot tubs category. And
Yeah, that's the goal here.
that's essentially what they're doing across the whole platform. And
Yes.
they're trying to, I guess, get more ad revenue by making streams. And I tried to do that for a long time. When I first started streaming, I tried to be the family-friendly streamer. I didn't cuss
Yeah.
on stream. I banned people who said even the slightest dirty joke. Like if they even mentioned a dick, they were banned. I was so strict at first. Like I probably need to go back through my old logs and like unban people.
I would love to see some of those.
Oh, I did an unban request stream when the 318 dropped and nobody could play. And it was hilarious. It was so good. My whole chat was voting like unban this guy, don't unban this guy, and they were ruthless. It was amazing. But no, I tried to be the family friendly streamer, and I realized that I like being myself more than I like being this presentable person, because I don't know if this was a big deal for you, but when I first started streaming, the mature audience little opt-in button was a big deal for a lot of people. Because
Really, I always had it because I've always been kind of vulgar and curse a lot.
Yeah.
So I always just put it up there because I didn't want people to watch with their kids.
Of course. And
Yeah.
I agree. I don't want kids watching my stream. It's not a place for kids. When people tell me their kids watch me, I get uncomfortable. I'm like, this is
Yes,
not a place for
dude.
kids.
Has that happened to you?
People are like, yeah, I'll put your VOD on and hand my 3-year-old the controller and he pretends he's flying, or my kid loves watching your stream. I'm like, okay, cool, bro. So anyways,
I had a guy at a bar come up to me and tell me that at one of the bar citizens. He's like, yeah, me and my 8-year-old watch you every day. And I'm like,
oh
what?
my God.
No. And I was like, I curse so much. And he was like, we say the same words in our house. I'm like, oh, I
Okay.
guess, whatever. But that made me extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Extremely.
of course it's uncomfortable, right? Because your expectation is that you're streaming to an adult audience, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of don't see most streamers on Twitch, I have to imagine, are mature marked. They're not trying to stream to kids. I would say most streamers aren't trying to stream to kids. maybe some of them have a large younger audience, but that's not their goal. They're not making content for kids. You know, it's not like Miss Rachel on YouTube, right? Who's trying to make this wholesome kid content, right? No, that's not the goal of 99% of streamers. And so if their plan,
who's Miss Rachel, bro?
oh, it's just it's just
how do you know Miss Rachel?
Oh, I don't
What's
know.
Going on here?
I've just seen videos before, you know, on TikTok or whatever. It's I put it on at night to fall asleep. No, it's just I get
like, what?
it's like educational kids content is what it's supposed to be. And this you know, girl she's awesome from what I hear. I actually have never watched one of her videos. But she makes like, you know, content about like kids' emotions and this is what you're feeling at this age and how to process. Apparently it's really good. Like parents love it.
Oh, okay.
And she does really good stuff. But my point is that
sorry, I had to ask for the people. I had to ask.
So Miss Rachel's a nice woman that I go and no, I'm just kidding. So if Twitch's plan is to basically divide up their mature content creators with their non-mature and then give their people who are paying for ads, right? These people, their customers, whatever you call it, clients, this opportunity to stream with non-mature and mature. I have to imagine the percentage of non-mature is going to be really low, really, really low. So I can't see that working out for Twitch, or maybe it's
you make YouTube videos.
Yeah, of course.
What do you mark your YouTube videos?
I'm clear every time. Almost always.
No, yeah, I clear also, but I put profanity if there's profanity in it. Yeah, that's
because
fine,
I don't swear in most of my YouTube videos.
I do it in like a lot of I do in a lot of my React videos.
That makes more sense.
They're cut from my live stream. They happen naturally. Sometimes it does. So I always mark with like I say a bad word sometimes, right? And
that makes sense.
But it always says safe for ads, and all like you just everyone's gotta look at what Twitch is doing, and they're just following YouTube's playbook because
they really
YouTube has been successful. That's all they're doing. Like these things are not going, I imagine, are not going to affect you as negatively as you think they are. They're just setting themselves up to become a better platform for ads. They just have to make better ads and then we'll be okay. But that's what I see it as, is like you set yourself like now, instead of just being mature, now you have what type of mature you have. And I think a lot of people that have set themselves at mature will now probably remove that, or there might be like the very light like expletive option, which should still be safe for ads. But at least you're you know, opting, like people are opting in and all this stuff, that like legally bound things. And I think that's really what this is just following YouTube's playbook on those things. And I think, you know, it's gonna be all right. We're gonna.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I was just thinking if Twitch is trying to like divide it up with, hey, advertisers, we have these extremely safe ads that don't curse. I just was thinking there's no way that's going to be a huge percentage of people. It's got to be really low.
They're dividing. They're dividing it, but they're dividing from pools and hot tubs, people like Hassan Piker, right, that are doing political content. A lot of people don't want to run ads on those types of channels.
Definitely.
Right? Things like that are you know, all the extremes.
Is that one of the tags? Political?
I don't know, but he says that he doesn't get, you know, he doesn't get sponsorships, things like that. So all of the money he makes is specifically from community funding. But I know he makes a lot of money from ads.
Yeah.
He's doing fine. The guy's okay. Fine. But I'm just giving him as an example of like political content typically would get a different type of ad, or maybe less revenue, maybe more revenue, whatever. But what YouTube does is very different in the sense of, instead of tags, it's like words. So words can be part of the tags that you do, and words cost a certain amount of money to advertise to, things like that. It's very, very like detailed. I don't think Twitch is going at that level, but I think they're putting people in the box that they belong in, and then allowing advertisers to choose who they get. Because you've been on Twitch for a while, longtime Twitch viewers, everybody has seen the same ad on the same channel over and over and over again, because they don't have that uniqueness. They're becoming properly unique, where they can give the right ads to the right people now.
You know, I should have asked today what this guy meant, but someone came into my stream today and they said Twitch ads are getting better, is what they said.
What, the 8 ads that you got before watching the stream? Like, what?
Listen, I'm just telling you what I should have asked them what they meant by that.
Do you run ads during your stream?
Never. I've never,
Me neither.
literally never ran an ad. I have pre-rolls on for when people come in because
We're
you have
forced
to. Yeah, you have to. I would turn them off. But you know what's interesting is I actually make a decent amount of money on ads, and I don't run any.
I did okay.
Like when I mean decent, I mean like 10% of my income comes from
me too.
ads. About 10%.
Almost exactly. Yeah. Interesting.
And I only run the one ad because I'm forced to. So it makes me wonder. Makes me
if
wonder.
You ran ads, what would you make?
I'm getting some dark thoughts right now.
Sure, but let's talk about that for a second, because this is like the real theme around everything for me that really frustrated me about the whole process. Is you have a bunch of streamers that are below this 70-30 number that are like, it doesn't affect me, but then they're also talking about how, well, the ad incentive program, and this and that and all these things. Please, for the love of God, guys, if you are growing your stream and trying to hit a level of where the money can make you free. If you're trying to get to that point, you need to not focus about money. Like, that is the key. It's all about growth. That is what it is. You need to focus 100% of your energy on growing your community. That's it. The money will come if you are engaging with the community and all those things. Like, people will want to support you from there. And you're coming from a person who grinded graveyard shift at a casino for 10 years while trying to make their channel grow. And I did it slowly. And like, that's kind of why I said I'm not going to push this 70-30 thing as much as like maybe I could. I do this, just to be clear, I do very similar things to what you were saying.
If you're watching online right now, go sub to Salty Mike. Give a tier 1 sub.
Yeah. I do something very similar, right? Like, I really appreciate the tier 1s. We're pretty close to this. It means a lot, but I'm not pushing it as like, I'm not going to do like a subathon or anything like that to try and get it to happen right now, because I worry that if I do a subathon in 1 month, I think like we're coming into our downturn of our Star Citizen content that we get every year before the big con that we have. It's called Citizen Con. And I feel like because the content kind of dies down, the stream viewership dies down, the interest in the game dies down. And so I feel like if I do it now, it wouldn't be fair to the people who like tried in this month, and I won't hit it in the 3rd month. So I was like, I'll hit it organically. I know if I keep doing what I'm doing and focus on growth, I'll be fine.
I think you will
That's
too.
all I focus on. Yeah, I know I'm going to hit it. I'm not worried about it.
For me, it didn't seem reasonable not to push for it since I was literally like 7 subs away, right? Yeah. And the funniest part is that in that you get the little analytics that's like, this many people unsubbed for you last month, and it was 8. Yeah. Right. So if those people would have just stayed sub, I get it. People's life circumstances change, and people.
It's funny though.
Yeah, it's funny because I was above it, but I should be above it now, right? Last I checked, but
what I'm saying is like you're just letting people know the situation, right? When I'm saying push is like there are a lot of people on Twitter, and Twitter is like the most unhinged place on earth, right? The thoughts that people have are insane there. Like people were like, I'm going to get mad when somebody gifts a sub now, because that person potentially could have become a tier 1 sub.
I think that's
like, come on,
so
guys.
goofy.
That's insane.
Well,
that's insane.
Can't you? I'm pretty sure you can continue a sub that you've been gifted, and that turns into a tier 1. So there you go, right?
Yeah,
and
it's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal, right? And the thing is if someone's going to tier 1, they're going to tier 1, right? Like a gifted sub's only delaying the inevitable, right? Yeah. So I think that you should be thankful for all support that you get. I'm not like shaking my boots every time someone prime subs, right? That would be ridiculous. What were we going to say?
Do you think everybody should be at 70-30? Like YouTube has 70-30, Kick has 95-5, and Twitch is 50-50 for a majority of their people. And I think that's where everyone's looking at, like, look at these other guys. But I think all the other guys are taking a loss.
Do I think everyone should be making more money? Yeah, of course. I would love that. Like, I feel like there's no world where I answer no there. But
interesting.
Do I think that? Well, I mean, do you not?
I don't. The question is, I don't know. Like we talked about the expense of live streaming, and they're not very open with the exact numbers.
right?
Yeah.
Everyone would
In
make more money.
in a perfect world, everyone will make more money, but we don't live in a perfect world.
Right, of
Things cost
course.
money,
Of
right?
course.
So the website, I think, is looking at, all right, these are the streamers that don't cost us money, so let's reward them.
I would
Where
agree with that.
how many
Or we're
streamers are
net
out there with
positive for
3
them.
viewers?
Maybe just barely,
Sure.
but we're net positive, right? Um,
Possibly, yeah.
but I agree with you. I think should everyone get a 70-30? That would be amazing. Would it even cost Twitch that much more money to go 70-30 for everyone? I don't know. I have to imagine the people who are below the 350 split aren't making Twitch boogles of money, right? So maybe it would be all right to push everyone to 70-30. Maybe. But I also think that, and this is going to sound, I know you share this opinion, but this is going to sound so greedy or so, I don't know what the right word is, elitist of partner of me. But I think it's okay to have special benefits for partners and have special benefits for people who are working hard to create their community. Does that need to be the 70-30 split? I mean, not necessarily, but I like that there's something to work towards.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think I think it's framing it that way is way better. Is saying it's really nice to have a goal. I'm so excited for that because the goal was to get partnered, like I said early, and then now what's the goal, right? It's
Right.
just to keep growing and keep growing and keep growing. And it was cool knowing that the 70-30 thing existed and it was 500 subs or whatever. And I knew that that was really far away, but it was just like, all right, man, I'll just keep growing my channel and maybe I'll get there one day. That'll be cool. Now it's like I can smell it, So it's pretty
Yeah.
sick to be there and like have worked so hard over all the years and have an opportunity to get a raise is kind of cool. It's a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
And the fact
Absolutely.
that it's done with your community is also very cool because everybody who subs has a part in that and all that, right?
And once we hit
But
it, everyone is contributing more. I mean,
yeah,
what is it like? I think technically you're making like 40% more, right? Because
it's sick.
yeah,
It's
it's
so
a
much, yeah.
yeah, it's a great incentive. Maybe it's not quite 40%, but close. And it's a huge pay bump, and that feels good as a community supporting someone who you know is getting the split, right? Because you're like, every time I sub, I'm giving them this much extra, because every single one of us at some level is thinking to ourselves, fuck Twitch. We don't need Twitch. They don't need any more of my money, because when everyone thinks Twitch, they think Amazon, right? And of course,
Yeah,
Twitch is
of
trying to
course.
be profitable, but it feels good to support your creator more and the big guy less. I think everyone feels that. So it's kind of a good community goal. I know that's the only reason my community is doing it, is because they want to support me more, which is awesome. I'm super
Exactly.
thankful for that.
Exactly. And the thing is like I see a lot of people complaining that there's better splits elsewhere. Well then,
There
the
is.
answer kind of is like, why? Well, then why aren't you there, right? And there's reasons why you're not there is because Twitch is a better platform for X, Y, Z. You've already grown your community there. Of course, we want these things to be better.
Mike,
I just question. Go ahead. What?
they're waiting on their $1 million contract, obviously.
Yeah, true. Their $100 million
They're
contract.
waiting on their $100 million contract. Didn't you hear?
Yeah,
XQC got signed for $100 million. That means my million's on the way. Didn't you hear?
true. Yeah.
Do you think that's a bit
that seems like
ridiculous?
do you think that's a fair contract for you?
$1 million?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! I'd go for $5 in a McDouble from McDonald's. No, I mean, I
There's
don't know. What do you think? Like, what would you go for? Is there a number out there that exists?
I have a
where-
hard time with this because of the whole casino thing. So just them as they're gonna have to do a lot more to get me to want to stream over there. But if to move to any platform, let's just to say it's not Kick. For me, I live a very simple life. Very simple life. I don't go out. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do anything. I like to play video games. I like to watch YouTube
Same here.
videos. My car is paid off. My house is not. Okay?
Same
That is
here.
the only expense I have. So I have like 80,000 left on my mortgage. That's
Wow.
all I would need. That's it. So when that's gone, I'm free. So for me,
That's
all
awesome,
it would-
man.
that's all it would take is just paying off my house. I don't care. So for the numbers don't matter. Like again, even though I stream full time, I do not stream for the money. The YouTube videos, I'm way more monetarily focused because it's a better platform to make money on,
Of
in
course.
my opinion. Right. So I focus there for that. I put my ads on my YouTube videos and then I call it a day. And I do try to like, you know, get as y- get as many clicks as possible, things like that. Right. On Twitch is like my happy place.
Mm.
I spend a lot less time thinking about how I'm going to make money on the platform and much more time on how I'm going to have fun and engage with the people that are there because that's what's so special about it. And so much has changed over the years, but that one thing has not, right?
Yeah.
It's still the absolute best place to engage with people. Now, this Kick website is a Twitch clone, looks exactly the same. They could have that, they can provide that same
Sure they
experience.
can.
And if they prove that, it's not just this, thing for stake or whatever, and then they're really trying to make a good platform, and they do, and they separate themselves enough from it. I don't think they'll ever separate themselves completely, but if they separate themselves enough, and it's a better platform to stream on, and it's a place to have more fun. Sure, why not? I wouldn't need a number to go over there, right? It would just be more of
Mike,
a whatever's more fun.
what's your
Yeah,
number?
I guess it's 80 or 100, whatever, right? 100K.
100K for 2 years?
Yeah, 50K a year. That's how much I
Wow.
make streaming about anyway, right? So now
Mm.
I just doubled my income because I would have this similar income and then I'd be happy.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Hmm. Interesting. See, it's interesting because I feel the same way about Twitch, where it's my happy place. I relax there. I'm there for the community. I just happen to make a full-time living there. So
Yeah.
we're in the same mindset. We're just
Yeah.
we're just both positioned a little bit differently,
Well,
right?
and everybody thinks about money in the world differently. And
Of
there's
course.
there's nothing wrong with it. Like I think I've been very desensitized to money over my life because
Me
of the
too. I
the
don't need
world that I
much.
lived in. Well, it's just also I've just seen somebody light $100,000 on fire in 2 minutes in one hand of poker. Right? I've pushed a
That's
million
true.
dollar pot to somebody, and they didn't blink an eye. Right? Like I have dealt the biggest games in the world. I have dealt, all those poker players you see on television. I've dealt to all of them. I know some of them personally. Right? Like these World Series of Poker people. I'm
Wow.
friends with them on my personal Facebook. Right? Like these are like these people are just normal people to me, and money is such a weird concept to me now, and it doesn't
Yeah.
mean as much to me as my time. That's it.
Yeah. And for me,
So
my main resource, my main asset is my community, right?
yep.
Like if I got a, let's say, $1 million contract to go stream on Kick and 0% of my community followed me, I'd be devastated. Like
Yeah, what would the point be?
I guess I'd take the money and like, stream and go and I guess spend the money and be happy. But it's like I get my happiness, I get my fulfillment from streaming. I don't get my fulfillment from making money. I don't need a lot of it, honestly, to move forward in life or find fulfillment, right? Like that comes to me from this successful community that I built, no money included. And if I wanted to make money, I used to work in film. You used to deal, right, at a casino. I used to work in film, and I hated my job. We were kind
I
of in the
hated
same.
it.
I
Yeah.
hated my job. And they paid me well, much more than I get now. And I worked for a bougie studio, working for other people, making their creative vision happen. And I literally one day walked into my boss's office and I said, I hate my job. I quit. I'm not doing this anymore. And the reason I did that was just because it wasn't worth it to me anymore. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
worth my happiness and my soul to make X amount of dollars. So I think I'm in the same spot as you. But so that being said, do you think it's kind of ridiculous that the kind of some of the numbers that people are throwing out on Twitter where they're like, oh, I want this much money to
Bro, I
move.
looked.
This is my number. Like, what do you?
I think somebody said 500K or something, right? And I looked up their channel, and they average 200 viewers. Like, where does this number come from? Like, where are you? Like, I just like, where are you valuing yourself? It's just crazy. Like, I
$2,000 a
get
viewer. What do you mean?
I get right. Like I get as a streamer, you have to have an ego. I think a little bit to like you got to like attention or whatever. I don't think you have to have a massive ego or anything. But that is insane to me. Like I'm assuming it was a meme. But I've seen so many of these that like I know some of these people are serious.
I
You
think
know what
they
I
are
mean?
too. Well, did you
And
see
it's
Doc posted on Twitter today?
50 million.
mil. 50 mil.
And Trainwreck's in the
He
comments
replied
like,
to it.
I make it happen.
Yeah.
So he's the one that makes the most sense,
I
right?
agree.
Because
I think
he's
he's
so anti-Twitch. It's like a perfect move.
I agree. And he doesn't love YouTube from what I can tell.
No, because it's not.
It's not a better experience.
It's not Twitch. It's not that
Twitch.
experience that you had, right? Now you have a very similar experience to Twitch. It's very creator focused. It is. Kick does look a lot like,
Man.
outside of all the bad things, it does look a lot of like what Twitch was at the beginning, very creator focused, right? It's just
so interesting.
What's the seedy plans behind the things? Is I think a lot of people are concerned about those, and I think that those are justified concerns.
Yeah.
Valid concerns.
Valid concerns. Sure. But if they can separate themselves from Stake, if they can make their innovate ads like they've said, I'm all for that. I love competition for Twitch. I cannot believe YouTube has dropped the ball so hard. They literally could have. If you ask me, YouTube could have been what Kick is trying to be times 10. Like easily. If they would have a couple of things: browse page, chat experience. That's maybe it. I think.
Also, who they signed. Like, here's the thing about XQC,
very interesting
right?
How they signed.
XQC is, and even the Amaranth signing. These people transcend. They're not just a certain type of streamer. They transcend the entire platform.
It's true.
Right? They're not just
they're both
the most
innovators
popular
of their content.
I guess, and they're also not the most popular from just like a viewer standpoint. They're the most popular is they wear a lot of hats, right? They engage with a lot of other communities on Twitch. YouTube made a lot of signings, but YouTube, like, do you know some of the people that signed on YouTube?
I do.
It's all the OTV crowd. It's all the family-friendly, very like brand safe OTV people.
Yeah,
right? Outside of like Pokemon.
Well,
yeah, plus a couple.
Yeah,
like who?
Lupo, Tim the Tabman.
True.
Is Valkyrie OTK or sorry, OTV? I don't know.
Yeah,
OTK.
They aligned. I don't think she's in 100 Thieves, so it's a little different, but aligned with it. So like they're like a lot of that friend group.
I don't know. If
so it's the Call of Duty group. So like Courage, Tim, and I think you said one other one. I can't remember. Oh, Dr. Lupo, but he's sort of in that group. And then all the OTV people.
Yeah.
They didn't grab the people that are Twitch necessarily. I think the best one was probably Tim. That was like the biggest signing that was like Tim was like an OG and played a lot of different games and was an innovator on Twitch.
Yeah. I was going to say Saikuno, but I'm pretty sure he's OTV as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's part of that group. So like they signed all their friends and it's like cool because like they basically signed a whole community. But at the same time, somebody like XQC isn't a community. He's like a being, like he's like way past that, right? So it's like such a huge deal. They signed just, I don't know what you would call him, but it's just above and beyond any of that. Like,
he's
not
like
just because
he's
he
like
gets
an
so
icon.
many viewers.
He's a stream icon, is what he is.
Exactly, and everybody knows who he is, right?
Yeah.
It's out, like you don't have to be a regular viewer to know who he is. You have to be a regular viewer to know who Lily Pichu is, right? You need to be a Twitch viewer to know who Lily Pichu is.
And these people still have massive audiences, right?
Of course, I'm not knocking on them.
No. I know you're not. But to
amazing.
Your point, there are people who have massive audiences. There are these massive, huge streamers. And then past that, they're streaming icons. And I do feel like Amaranth is one of those. I do feel like XQC. Another person I would say who transcends communities, probably like Summit, for example. You know, it's just like he's nearly a household name, I would say. Ninja is also another person, but he doesn't want to be tied down by a contract again. Shroud too, right? But Shroud and Ninja, they both just checked out, basically. Maybe Ninja a little less. And I don't mean that in a bad way. They both did what these guys are doing. You know, they had their moment and they said, like, I just want to chill. And
Ninja's the coolest one though, out of everything to me, because he went this way of I'm gonna remove all my contracts and just stream.
I do like
on
that.
all the platforms, and then Twitch did that thing where part of all this is that you couldn't stream multi-stream on with no matter whether you had a contract or not, and totally screwed his plans up, like almost like they did it on purpose to him.
I totally think that was a huge mistake. I think that was a huge mistake for Twitch to say, if you're, is it non-affiliates too?
Yes, it's every user on the platform now.
Yeah, because I was going to say that he's not an affiliate, I didn't think. No. But, I mean, he's not making money from a lot of these, like, it's more sponsorships and that he's making money. But he's not making money from subs or bits or ads. And I think that's kind of a cool route for him to go down. But obviously, he doesn't need the money. He got his bag. So, and
you want to talk about that for a sec?
What?
The idea of this exclusive thing. I find it so weird when you, because like talking about people that are trying to grow their channels, like you need to do these kind of things. Like I think the people that are at a 5-10 viewer number, the best thing they can do is stream on every platform. And here's the thing, Twitch cannot enforce this rule to everybody.
No, they absolutely cannot.
This rule has existed for partners. There's partners in our space that have been doing it for a very long time. Yeah, and I'll never call them out for it because I think it's good on them. I think it's a perfectly valid thing to do, and I like encourage to keep doing it.
Yeah,
because
I'm not a snitch.
Well, it's not that. It's I think it's a good thing. I think it's you keep trying to grow and do it and that's what's important. I think they're focused on the right things.
Now, can I say something?
Sure.
It's very prominent to what you're saying, so I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
I have never seen that work out for someone streaming on multiple platforms. I've never seen a visual or a net positive from someone doing that before, ever. And
fair.
Now I'm not saying not to do it. I do believe in diversifying your content on multiple platforms, 100%. We've talked about we both do it. We both do it, and I need to do it more. You do it a lot better than I do it, just being completely honest. And like we said, I make more money on Twitch, you make more money on YouTube, right? I need to be doing more what you're doing, but I totally believe in it. However, I've never seen it work out for someone. In terms of live streaming on multiple platforms, I've never seen that work out for someone. I've never even seen someone like blow up on another platform that wasn't a enigma. You know, they're a exception, not the rule. You know, I typically see that kind of growth happening on two different places. I think it's happened a lot on Kick recently because of these opportunities where people are flooding to Kick and they're looking for new people, right? That's created a lot of opportunity. Good for those people. And then the other thing is I've seen it happen sometimes on YouTube with very niche cases. But for the most part, I can't think of an example of someone who I know who has seen benefits from streaming on multiple platforms. I don't know about you.
It's an interesting take. Yeah. I mean, I guess anybody that I've seen do it has.
Maybe it's something that you could push to sponsors. You know, you could say, I have, 200 viewers on YouTube and I have 400 viewers on Twitch. So I can stream concurrently to this many people, or this is my total. You know what I mean? It's maybe something you could use as a tool there. I'm not sure.
No. Like I think I have a little bit more experience with sponsors than you maybe. And I signed with an agency. I talked to an agent. The way that I've noticed things work is specific brands have a specific campaign on a specific website, and they're not like you live streaming on YouTube has no effect because their campaign is a specific Twitch advertising campaign. So, and then they may have something on YouTube, but when I get the same brand on two different things, it's two totally different things.
So what you're saying is, unless you are a super creator, like a Ninja, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Now, again, I hope that there are people who prove me wrong. Yeah, I hope there are people that can prove me wrong. Now, I've had tons of people say, I found you through YouTube. I watched your
Mhm.
YouTube video and then I came over. But I've never streamed on YouTube before. I've never streamed on any other platform
Neither.
before, ever. And
Neither have I.
I I don't think that I see a lot of reason at the moment to. If Kick does take off like we're talking about and, Twitch kind of starts dying down, I'll move over, of course, because I want to do what's best for my community, not what's best for me.
Yeah.
And
I think I had a similar sentiment is the way I said it.
yeah,
It was like, if it makes sense, then
it makes
and they're
sense.
not evil, like
But
super evil, then sure.
I don't think there's any harm in waiting. I don't think that it's
No.
like if I have 500 viewers on Twitch and I decide to wait until Kick, quote unquote, takes off or see some success, I don't think that I'm going to be punished long term by waiting and then moving with my community then. I think they'll just follow me then. The people who would follow me today will follow me then, because
Yeah.
I build a community of people who hang out every day and, try to have fun. So I don't think that it's people are, I think the people who are loyal to Twitch will just, they will no longer be a part of my community. That will be a bummer, but I don't think that there's harm in waiting to see the success.
Now, I think the downfall of Twitch thing, I think is extremely overplayed as well.
Sure.
I think everything that's happening here is Twitch trying to remain alive and remain successful and do these things. It may not feel that way because it does seem like it's at the expense of the creator, and it's extremely frustrating. I just hope that over the next year, let's say, that we see again better ads and things like that. So, I've never signed the ad incentive program. I am not a part of it. I never signed that
I
agreement.
did one time.
Yeah, and
Actually,
I will
no,
not
I didn't.
do it. I won't do it until there's show me something. Show me something that when I click or it automatically plays an ad that it's not 8 minutes of ads or 8 different ads after. Like, it was I watched an Asmongold react the other day, and it was about this. It was about the whole Kick thing. It was XQC, Hassan, and Pokimane all yelling at each other, not making any sense. It was great. It was great content. And I was watching Asmon react to it, and in the middle of it, they were about to get to the juicy part, and an ad played right in the middle of the conversation, and it just ruined the whole thing. And he just starts cracking up, and it was just gold. Right. And like, that's what's wrong with all this.
I agree.
Is I don't know what the solution is, but there's advertisers that, this is what they do. They get paid millions and millions of dollars to know what to do in these situations. Somebody needs to do something, right? And or both platforms. Kick can't survive without ads either at some point. And they've admitted that as well, right? So there just has to be that there. Do you want to talk about the 70-30 split on Twitch trying to take our tips now? Have you seen that one today?
I did see it. Now,
What do you think?
Let me backtrack just a little bit because I want to talk about one of the things you said, which is I think one of the goofiest points that has come from the Twitch versus, and I think, like I said, competition's good, but have you seen how people are saying, oh, well, Amazon owns AWS and Amazon AWS is, the same as Twitch basically because they're owned by the same company.
Pokey got roasted for this, dude.
I think I haven't seen this, but I thought that was such a goofy take that she said. I wasn't trying to specifically call her out, but such a goofy take that she's like, well, they could just kick them off of their hosting whenever they wanted.
You can't.
I don't think that I don't think they can, but even if they could, I think that is extremely wrong for AWS to be like, well, we don't like that you're a competing streaming service, so we're going to kick you. It'd be like if an Amazon clone came out, like, well, I don't know, like Etsy or something, and they were hosted on AWS, and they were like, oh, we're just going to turn you off because we don't want the competition. That would be ridiculous. I don't know if it's allowed or not. I don't know the laws, but I'm assuming it's illegal.
It would 100% be illegal. Like, you sign a contract, right? And then the other thing is, it would just be terrible business to do it that way, because why would anybody use your service? It's a live streaming service. So why would anybody use your live streaming service? It's like a specific live streaming service.
Of course.
This is what it's for. So why would anybody buy it if you're just going to kick them off for trying to live stream? Makes no sense.
Exactly.
So yeah. And then, obviously Twitch is a business and Amazon is a business. So Twitch will be buying the AWS from AWS, and that's how it's going to look on the books. Whether they're both owned by the same people, it's just not how it works. Like, it's just kind of silly to have that point of view. But
Speaking
yeah,
of silly
Twitch
decisions,
trying to take our tips now. Like the
I
timing of
think
this stuff
this is so
so
dumb.
bad.
They
What
are
are you
literally
doing?
they have such bad timing on pretty much everything, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Twitch has the worst timing of all time. Like, for example, I thought it was such funny timing that I don't know if you saw this, but right before the outrage over this, what originally kicked all this off, basically, was the sponsorship changes, which you thought was ridiculous.
Oh,
But
yes.
it was so interesting that about 2 months before it, I don't know the timeline exactly, they came out and said, hey guys, we're experimenting with a new way for sponsorships to pay you, which is through
Oh,
gifted
yeah.
subs. And everyone was like, wait, so you're trying to take 50% of my sponsorship money? Like, no thanks. It was so goofy, and everyone pushed back on it, and they were like, oh, we're so sorry, we're not going to do that. And then about 2 months later, they were like, hey, so remember those sponsorship things that we talked about? Which isn't what they said, but it sure feels connected because it was so close together. It just feels like what it felt like was there was a lot of conversations in the background prying at sponsorships is what it feels like, right? And if those two topics weren't connected, someone at Twitch is not talking to each other. And I feel like that's happening a lot, honestly. And I think a lot of the people and staff at Twitch are in this very weird headspace where they think that they're the good guys. They think that they're the guys with the shiny capes on and they're saving the streaming space, and people just don't realize, like, they're Batman. People don't realize, like, that they're the hero that Gotham needs, and that, you know, without Twitch, you know, we wouldn't have, nobody would be happy, and nobody would have a streaming platform, and blah, 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 blah. Like, they just detest this idea that they're the bad guys, I feel like. And we've seen this through tons of examples. The Harris Heller thing with the
Oh my God.
very
yeah.
uncomfortable conversation that,
And that was like the creative director of Twitch.
yeah. And the creative director of Twitch goes into Harris Heller's stream, is basically saying, hey, you've got a lot of good points, but also you're really wrong about everything. Some very confusing dialogue happening there. And then it ends with Harris trying to ban this Twitch member. And he was like, wow, you tried to ban me? And it turns out he can. And he's like, well, this is awkward. I'm just going to end my stream. And man, what a weird situation for a streamer to have to be in, because like, I just feel like that lacks so much self-awareness from the creative director of Twitch. So much self-awareness lacked there. And not only that, but then I see, I forget, actually I bookmarked it. I'm pretty sure I did. I've got it. But there is another director, and her name is Mary. I think you've seen her tweets before. But I thought
Mary
something,
Kish, yeah.
I thought something. And
she's like a community manager, kind of.
Sometimes she has some good things to say. Sometimes she has some bad things to say. But I thought that this was a really interesting take. Is a lot of people were advocating for a 70-30 split for everyone when this partner thing came out. And something she said I thought was so interesting. And this tells you the mindset that they have in Twitch. I think the Twitch staff. She says, I know we want more. She's talking about herself, like she's including herself as a creator.
She's an old school Twitch creator. Just
of course,
to be clear, yeah.
Yeah, but right.
So people know, I guess.
Yeah. If this change, and she's talking about the 70-30 partnership, the Partner Plus program for the 350 subs. She says, if this change increases subs for creators and overall viewership, it can lead to better and more positive changes. I'm like, okay, that sounds good.
Cool.
Take wins where you can and continue advocating for more. But negative reactions can harm this direction. Feedback is good.
Roadmap watchers, Berks. Roadmap watchers.
Yes, it's a roadmap watcher for sure, kind of deal. Where she's saying that if you guys react negatively to this, we'll take it away. And I feel like that is such, like, typically what negative feedback spurs from, especially when it's overwhelming, right? The community is unanimous. Typically what it is you guys messed up, you're in the wrong. And Twitch sees that as, no, it's you guys who are out of touch. We're in the right. Like, you guys just don't know how grateful you should be to us. And I think that is such a weird headspace for the Twitch creators and Twitch staff to be in. When it feels like in the last 5 years, I can count on my hand maybe 2-3 times that I feel like the Twitch staff has done something to support me. Can you think of anything? What have they done in the last 5 years?
How about in my entire time?
Sure.
0. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
actually 0.
Yeah.
My partner manager, when those existed, he was one of the guys that got Me Too'd and got fired. Right. Like, and this guy, so he focused only on the girls and never paid attention to me whenever I asked him a question. So there you go. Great. Sweet. And like that's one of the things that yeah, I don't think they were always focused on the big people, like the huge creators too. With some exceptions, I think Pluto's a guy who I met in Germany, and he was super cool. And he was engaging with myself, DJ Knight, and Captain Richard. And I think DJ and Captain Richard were under his umbrella. And he was just super, super nice. And like none of us were Summit 1G, right? Or like these huge people that he also interacted with a lot. And he was just very open and nice
That's
guy.
That's awesome. I'm sure there are people like that at Twitch.
But those were the Bleed Purple days. He's still there, I think. But those were the Bleed Purple days. It was different back then. And it's weird. I have not had, I think you make great points like with that is I've not had anybody at Twitch do anything for me. Like we said at the beginning, as a streamer, you're doing it all yourself. But the one thing that when you were talking that I have a hard time with is, yes, I think Twitch has this weird thought process with them. They're doing us a favor or something. But I also think so many people were out of touch in this scenario, right? It's just I agree with you. Twitter blue check marks and like all these comments coming from, I see the check mark there and all and all this stuff. And it's just like, oh, you just got it all wrong, man. It's a lot harder, and it's going to take you work to earn this money that you think you deserve, right? Same with the $500,000 to move over to Kick or something, right? Like, come on.
But that all to say, right? While I totally agree with you, right? Some people are being ridiculous on both sides. Yeah, this super chat thing, who in their right mind is excited about this? How does this benefit the creator? You're hopefully turning it off.
You can't.
You can't. Okay, great. Wonderful.
So the only thing you can do, is set the minimum.
You're setting it to $1.
The highest you can set the minimum. No, the highest you can set the minimum, because for it to show up, you could set a minimum for it to show up. I'm going to set it at $100. That's the highest minimum number you can have.
Wow. So
that'll
they
essentially turn it off.
They can't even donate.
How often?
If they don't do $100, they won't be able to have the option. That's great. I'll do that too.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's my point though, is who's getting excited about this? Why is Twitch introducing this like this is a good change? Literally all it is them saying, we see creators getting a cut of support and we want in. We want in.
Also,
How are you supposed to, yeah.
I hated highlight chat. I hate anything where a chatter gets an advantage over another one. Like, say something funny in chat, then you'll get noticed, right? Like, do something worth reading. Don't take advantage necessarily of these other ways to get your voice heard, because I think a lot of people do that.
Well, I mean,
and I find it annoying. I think it breaks the streamer chatter experience.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with you there
personally.
Because
that's fine.
For example,
everybody streams differently.
If someone subs or someone donates, an alert pops up on screen and there's TTS, for me at least. So I don't really see the difference there. But where I see the difference is that they're taking a bigger cut, or they're trying to take a bigger cut than PayPal. And that just makes no sense to me. And they're doing it in the slimiest way by doing a 5% fee instead of the actual fee. It's just like Twitch really just does not know how to present this stuff to us. And the thing is like even bits are a better rate for everyone. So it's like, why wouldn't you give bits to a streamer? Why wouldn't you take bits instead? Nobody's excited about this change. You'd have to be out of your mind to be excited about this change. I can't see it.
What's the point if you have bits? It's such a weird thing. Like, bits was a donation. Like, it's the same thing.
It's the same. And maybe they should have just
super chat YouTube experience. And we're all sitting here going, YouTube chat is dog shit. It's terrible.
People don't like it. I didn't know that.
No, I just don't think it's good.
Okay,
Like,
cool. I
and
just don't have any experience with it.
I listen to a live podcast and they get super chats, and sometimes like when they take a little break, they'll read them. But they can't even like find the super chats. Like they stay on screen for a certain amount of time and then they go away. And like in the middle of their podcast, somebody gave them $100 and they can't even thank the person because they don't know who it was. It's like I don't know. It's super messy, and I don't like it necessarily because for me the chat box is like a sacred place, and I
Yeah.
think that they're messing it up personally.
Yeah, yeah. At least they should have went down the road of a super chat is just bits or something. Like that somehow highlights your message. I know you wouldn't agree with that, but at least it's a better split, you know? Like people could get excited if they were updating bits, but I don't see how people can get excited about they're trying to take what 35% away from every dollar that these
nuts.
people give you. It's crazy. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, but is live
I
streaming
don't know.
dead, Mike?
No, it's obviously
You think the
somebody just
best
got
days
a
are ahead?
$100 million contract, right? Like they're
More than
like
LeBron James.
yeah. And the thing is it's never been more alive, and I think that there's real competition. We'll see if YouTube ever steps up in the space. You have Kick. It's all great. It is such a fun thing. You and I more recently this year was the first year I've went full time. Like it is so far from dead. It's not even funny. Creators are popping up out of nowhere on Twitch all
Yeah.
the time now. There's huge creators that I've never heard of. Like the space is bigger and better than it's ever been. It is not dead at
Yeah.
all.
I think I'll end
It's
on
great.
this with kind of, reverberating what you're saying is that I personally think with so many platforms interested in joining the live streaming competition, and that just screams to me that there's so much interest, business side and also streaming side, that people, and you have people like in these like, World of Warcraft style Horde versus Alliance wars with Kick and Twitch now. It's wild.
So funny.
Like if you stream on, Twitch, then you don't love Kick. And if you stream on Kick, then you don't love Twitch. It's like this very strange, war going on. And then those people will be streaming on Twitch like 3 days later.
I mean, that's
like,
the best thing about the XQC thing. It's non-exclusive.
It's not
He's streaming
exclusive.
on both.
That is
It's
wild to me. That is wild to me that they signed a $100 million non-exclusive deal. But
I think it makes sense.
I think it makes sense too. For XQC, it makes sense.
I think it makes sense for Kick too.
Yeah, they've got the money, right?
I'm streaming on Twitch. All right, guys, I'm heading over to Kick. I'll see you over there. It's like
That's true.
you're constantly
You're so right. And
funneling.
People always comment that Trainwrecks never streams on Kick, and he only streams on Twitch. And I think that's why. Exactly what you just said. I think that's why. But I think there's so much opportunity for creators still. I think that there is a lot of way to move forward. I think that content creators are not going anywhere. And that I think that while live streaming is probably the hardest space to grow in and also to run as a business, I don't think it's going anywhere. Not yet. And I think someone will pick up the ball even if Twitch drops it.
And I think just on an ending note, I think everybody expected places like TikTok and Instagram and like the reels and short form content to really be the place where people that was the next thing. And now we're starting to see all those people coming over because these platforms are more monetizable where those
Exactly.
aren't, right? So it's so far from dead, and now it's probably going to grow significantly more because a lot of those creators are coming over to spaces like these because they're more monetizable, right?
Of course.
So,
of course. Well,
it's healthy.
Awesome. Yeah.
We did it.
We did it, bro. Our first podcast. How do you feel?
It's cool. I feel good. I mean, like we have these conversations all the time, like we said, and it's just going to be fun to do them more regularly and see how people like them, and I can't wait to see like the feedback from people and how they like it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. Well, if you guys are listening still, then thanks for joining us. It was funny. I kept on watching the timer tick up. I was at 15 minutes and then 30, and I was like, are we going to make it to an hour? And here we are, an hour, 23 minutes in. So anyways, thank you guys so much for joining. Mike, appreciate you, man. And I think that's going to be it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you next Saturday at 10 a.m. CST.